Welcome to the Final Score Network and the Final Score Podcast, presented by Team Anders Realtors. I'm Andy. He's former NCAA student athlete and co-host.
Ryan, Cam, two-hand monster flush off the inbound. Ryan, Cam, slam, jam. Oh boy.
Find the TFS pod and our playlists wherever you stream your podcast or music. Follow us on X at TheFinalScore35. Oh, and one more note before we get started.
I'd like to apologize to anyone I've not offended yet. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly.
Welcome into episode 203 of the Final Score podcast. Beautiful, cold December day. We're coming to you live from the basement. I was saying this before. I think we've done every episode either here in this room or in Holland in that living room, and then we did one.
Level, yeah.
We did one on the deck outside, and it didn't sound good with the birds chirping. So we never did that again. That'd be cool. Maybe one day we'll do it from an exotic location. Who knows? But a lot to talk about this week. We got the 12-team playoff bracket. NFL, we got 4 weeks left. College basketball, some conference play the last couple weeks, and this week, which is great. Golf had another win by Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to say that now because I'm going to forget. Dude's a stud. What a 2024 he had, Player of the Year. Just learned that today. Let's get to the podium. And I heard this topic came up on Mike Valenti's show, so I got to give him props for it triggering me wanting to do this. But it's Dan Campbell, and is he changing the game of football similar to the way Billy Beane changed baseball with Moneyball, implementing that? Dan Campbell with the way that he coaches, the way he builds relationship with players, the way that he's riverboat Dan Gamble, and just the energy he coaches with, the culture he has. I think a lot of teams will start to try to mimic this with former players. You're already seeing the Patriots trying to do it, the Raiders with Antonio Pierce. And especially changes the game with the way that he goes for it. He plays the analytics more than anybody else. Just going for it, saying, if we get this, we're going to win. We're going to hold the ball. What the Lions did against the Packers. Went for it, 4 or 5 times?
5, yeah.
Crazy. But he's evolved the game. And you see more and more teams do it now. And I think it's going to be a continual thing. This year, I think there's the most fourth downs attempted in league history. And it's still 4 weeks left. So, Dan, you changed the game, man, for the better. And I think it's more entertaining because of it. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. He stayed true to who he is in all 4 seasons that he's been in Detroit. And, sometimes we get a little angry about maybe like the call on not necessarily going for it, but the play call on Thursday on your own 30. But that's who the Lions are. And, live or die by it. Hopefully don't die, but they did last year against San Francisco, so there's both sides of it. But Dan, you changed the game, man.
Yeah, I agree, and it's fun to watch, and it's fun that it's one of our teams and not somebody else doing it. So, I don't want to steal the thunder of one of the around the world spots, because we'll talk a lot about championship week and college football and what's coming playoff wise and whatever, but I had to dust off some work I did. I think the first time there was conference realignment a couple of summers ago, where I kind of cooked up my own plan. I've been looking at that over the last week and kind of tweaked a little bit in my mind. But I think what I want to say for my podium is that I can tell you immediately, without fail, a 12-game playoff is wrong. I think the 12 teams, okay, the 12 part, maybe I don't have as much of a problem with, but this whole notion of how they pick the 4 teams with the byes, and then the fact that they still have like 40 some other bowl games, like it's clearly broken. There's no question. We've talked about this for a while. Chris sent me some great mailbags. One that kind of, comes into this is, he asks more specifically, is it time for bowl games to get out of the CFP? Yes, we'll get to that, but really it's time for the CFP to take a look at reality and figure out how to best run the CFP. And I'm going to tell you how it is, lock, stock, and barrel. This is regardless if you go with my future plan of 6-team divisions across, kind of call it the SEC and the Big Ten, however you want to split it. Regionalized divisions, you play everybody in your division, plus others, whatever, you get to your 12-game schedule. All the division winners, so the 10 division winners get in, then you have 6 at large. So 16 out of 60 teams get in the playoffs. Seems like a lot. I think that's probably pretty fair. That would settle the best 16 teams. No more bye. You seed it 1 through 16, as in the best 16 teams in order, just like Division 3 does it, just like Division 2 does it. They don't do any funky math or whatever. Saw a great TikTok that said, this is what it would have been if we used the old BCS model for rankings. It would have given you the 12 best teams. I think college football fans deserve a playoff. And if you want to keep it at 12, I could live with that. I think 16, though, when you wipe out buys and you wipe out conference championship games, they're meaningless. Don't waste that extra game. We saw Georgia lost their quarterback for at least one round of the playoffs, maybe the whole thing if they make it further than one round. As a result, stupid. Another game, meaningless. They played for a bye, but whoop-de-doo, what good does that do them? Go to a 16-team playoff, no buys, ranked 1 through 16. 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15, just like you would play a bracket of 16 in the NCAA tournament. The first, the second, and the semifinal games are all home games. Here's why. The Big Ten championship tickets were going for what? Like, was that you that sent me that, Ryan? Like, a Chipotle burrito was more expensive than getting Big Ten championship game tickets. Why? Because it's lost its luster. What Oregon fan wants to go all the way to Indy and then go wherever Oregon's going to go, presumably the next couple weeks before they go to the championship? Nobody. So here's the solution to that. Play the games at the home team winner. If you have an upset, let's just say for the sake of discussion, 16 beats 1, fine. Then, if they play 8 next, then 8 gets the benefit of being the better seed and getting a home game. I think you do it like the NFL playoffs that way, and you play your championship game at a neutral site, and then you take out your bowl games. In today's world of 132 teams or whatever that is, you limit it to 11 bowls. That means in total, 38 teams get the benefit of the postseason and everybody else stays at home. And I think if you eventually get to my model, which is 60 Division I teams, and then you break off the leagues that'll never be able to compete, like the MAC and whatever, they're never going to win a championship. Why are we even put them in a second division? That's okay. Let them play for their own national championship. Do you think a FCS school cares if they win a national championship that it's not the same one as the football bowl series? No, they don't. It's still a national championship. So create opportunities there. But if you want to keep it in today's day and age, 16 team, 11 bowls, Rose, Fiesta, Sugar, Orange, Cotton, Peach, Alamo, Citrus, former Outback Bowl, now the Reliac West, I think it's called, Las Vegas and Gator Bowl. Boom, there's your bowls. They're all good destinations. They're warm weather destinations. Fans of those schools that didn't make the playoffs still have got a great place to go. You have home games all the way through the first 3 rounds of the 16-team playoff. The good schools, the Oregons, the Ohio States, the whomevers that are in that win, they keep drawing their fans at home. And you know what? If it means Bama or Florida or Miami has to go and play at Penn State in the middle of December or January, so be it. You should have finished better. I think it's time that college football look at reality and they fix the problem within the realm of what they can fix now. And that is a seeded 1 to 16 or ranking, however you want to figure, whatever you want to call that, playoff, limit the bowl games, increase the home games, limit the travel for the fans. It's supposed to be all about the fans, by the way. And not just the fans, but the parents of the players. Imagine if you're some inner city kid or you're an inner city family and your kid is going to play in Glendale 1 week, Miami in 1 week, and New Orleans in the next week. There's no way in hell you can afford to go to that. There's no way, not even with NIL. I don't buy it. So simplify it, simplify the whole process, stop overcomplicating it, take the guesswork out of it. Let 17 and 18 want to complain that they didn't get in, so be it. You've taken out the buys. You've taken out all the other stuff that they're arguing about. Problem solved. Put me in charge. You don't need a football guy to be in charge.
Yeah. Could not agree more. It has gotten ridiculous, and they're thinking about expanding to 14 already.
I don't understand 14. That's just a waste. Like, go to 16. No more buys. Get rid of the conference championship game so you don't have to worry about that extra game, and then just go. Like, yeah. I mean, think about, as if you're a fan, if we're Michigan State fans and Michigan State makes the playoff, let's just say we're, a 9 seed even, but we're going to go play Notre Dame. Do you think we're not going to try to go to that game?
Right.
And then if the next week maybe we get lucky and we get to host a home game, you think in mid-December or in mid-January when it's freezing ass cold in Michigan, we're not going to go to that game? Hell yeah, we're going to go to that game. But do you think I'm going to go to those games if they're halfway across the country and I have to pay $500 a ticket to fly there and $500 a night for a hotel and who knows how much for the game? No. Like, this one drawback to the Super Bowl is a spectacle to be watched on TV, and it's in the game is for the corporate side, right? Like, Stop corporatizing college sports more than it already has been. Keep it about the fans because it's the fans and the pageantry that make college football great. I want to see the Buckeye guy that paints himself silver and has got to have a tint of silver and probably lead poisoning for life at every Ohio State game, no matter where it is, home or away. But if you make it so difficult to travel to those games, you're taking that out of it. And that is half the fun of college sports is the fans. Yep. And by the way, transporting the band there and transporting the cheerleaders there and transporting the dance team there. Right. Times 3, times 4 games. Stupid. This is the problem when you have dumbasses in charge. They don't think about the big picture and simplifying the process.
Yep. All right. Flag this week. We are going to flag Matt LaFleur, coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Peter LaFleur,
the man baby
not
himself, related. Gets in a almost fist fight with a Lions fan before the game. I don't even remember. What was it for?
The fan was on the field to hold the flag, and the fan was chirping, talking trash. And he talked about this in his press conference about how it was out of control. This guy was chirping, talking trash. Security didn't do anything about it. Hey, Mr. Rabbit Ears, maybe, number one, don't have your players talking trash all over social media before the game. Number 2, you're a freaking professional. You don't expect other fans to chirp you. And I don't care if he's within 5 feet and he chirps you. They're chirping you anyway. Maybe close down your rabbit ears. Like, did he threaten to kill you? No. He talked trash about you and your team. Turn the other cheek, ignore it, whatever. You're the paid professional here to be the head coach. Just childish, as well as the response from Green Bay fans, who I have a new level of disrespect for, of how dumb they are. How many times I saw a TikTok video saying this play shouldn't have happened, the NFL cheated, because they either tried to invoke the kneeling rule when Goff was stepped on and tripped on the handoff on the 4th down play, or they said because his knee was down. I'm not even going to justify it with what the rule is, but you are that dumb, you don't deserve to wear the colors of your team or to have a spot on TikTok. You should be banned for life. Yeah, I'm banning you. You banning me, I'm banning you.
Right. All right, let's get into it. Around the world, spot 1. Do the ad read quick.
Yeah.
And then,
spot 1 is presented by Norris Sports Group. NSG is a boutique agency of experts with 30 plus years of experience in sports, sponsorship, and much more. Learn more about them today at norrissportsgroup.com, where Mr. Bill Norris is licking his wounds for his Iowa State Cyclones, who had a brilliant season, and they still had a brilliant season, but got throttled in the Big 12 championship game.
We can start with that game, I guess. I didn't really watch much of it.
Arizona State dominated.
They throttled them.
Mm-hmm. They really did.
Sam Levitt, good. Scattaboo, good. They're a good team. They're fun to watch. Kenny Dillingham, really young guy at his alma mater. Gets them to the playoff. Good for them, man.
Their offensive line is really good.
Finished dead last.
Michigan State fans are lamenting, we got the worst of the quarterbacks, Giles or whatever. Great for Levitt. He's got a superior offensive line and a running back who's like John Riggins Jr.
Yeah.
He's a tank. And he's got some nice pieces and parts around him. That is a nice football team. What's their seed?
They're the 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So they got a bye. I mean, deservedly so. That's a nice football team.
Yeah, they're solid. A nice win for them. Go back to Friday night. Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State pummeled Western Kentucky.
I think I picked Western
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Boise gets it done. Genty, another awesome game. He's a Heisman finalist. They announced that yesterday.
Shout out to their coach for sticking to his convictions and saying what was on his heart on the podium too, which is wonderful to see in sports.
I hope Boise gets to the semis. That'd be pretty cool.
Remember this. I think they only lost one game this year, right?
To Oregon. And it was close.
It was close. They lost on the last second field goal, I think.
Yep. Yeah, it was late. So they're a good team. They could make some noise. Their defense isn't great.
Should have the Heisman Trophy winner, but won't because it's all a popularity contest.
Exactly. Also Friday night, our boys, the Black Knights, with a
first ever conference championship game.
Convincing win over Tulane. Bryson Daly, guy's a stud, man. 29 touchdowns.
Is he going to New York? Is he one of the 4 finalists? That's BS.
That's one of my questions on the.
That's crap.
On the
sprint.
But yeah, Army, AAC champs. They got obviously the game this week. The rivalry game. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well.
Shout out to Mike and Dave going to the game. Yep. That's awesome.
Yep, that's fantastic. That was Friday night. Let's go to the MACtion. We both picked Miami to win. Ohio wrecked them.
I think that was their first conference championship I saw since the 60s.
Yes.
Is that right? Which surprised me because maybe I'm thinking basketball, but I think they've had some decent teams. Maybe they've gotten to the MAC championship, but
they've gotten there. They just hadn't won. And good for them. Miami with Chuck Martin in the sweater vest.
But see, so like Ohio is never going to compete for a national championship. So back to my podium, put them in call it the 1AA and give them a chance to compete with other like schools to win their own national championship. I don't think anybody at Ohio would care.
No.
I don't think they have to beat Ohio State or Tennessee or Notre Dame to be able to claim a national championship. I just don't.
Right. Agreed. SEC. That was probably the best game.
Excellent game.
Georgia starts off okay, not great. Beck gets hurt. Gunnar Stockton comes in. He actually did pretty decent. He's a kind of a tank.
Minus the pick that gave Texas a chance at the end. That was bad.
And then Texas, though, I don't know, man. We both picked Texas. Quinn Ewers sucks. I'm going to say that. I can say that wholeheartedly.
Curse of the Dr. Pepper.
He's terrible.
Commercials.
I mean, he's not good. He's slow. Doesn't have he throws floater passes.
His best game this year was against Michigan, and Michigan was not very good.
No, he's just not very good. And Texas has a really good run game. I think they'll lean on that a lot in the playoff. Mm-hmm. Their defense is very good. Solid. It's some nice plays. Their linebackers really good. But Georgia did enough. Their run game, they're getting healthy. Their defense turned it up. Kirby, I mean, love him or hate him, he is an amazing.
He's a big game coach.
He's like Nick Saban. He comes from
he doesn't usually win the SEC championship.
Nope.
But
he comes from that Saban tree, though. You can tell he's just got that same mentality. And Georgia gets that 2 seed. Good win for them. Then the Sun Belt Marshall wins, and then their coach leaves to go to Southern Miss. I feel like Marshall's a better job than Southern Miss. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Beat Louisiana, who actually had a really good season. Michigan State was supposed to play them. Thank goodness they didn't, because they probably would have lost to them.
I forgot about that.
Big Ten championship. Didn't really watch it. It
was actually a really good game.
For the first time, Penn State actually scored points, but their defense sucked. I don't know what to make of them.
It's been the opposite. Their defense had been mostly good, inconsistent all year, and their offense had been shaky at times, and it was the opposite. I didn't watch it at all because I was watching kind of Clemson and SMU as well, but it was a good game, and hey, Penn State acquitted themselves well. I would have given them no chance. We picked against the spread, I think, in that game, right? And I picked Oregon I picked Oregon to cover the spread. I thought for sure they'd throttle them, and Penn State showed up. Now, arguably, that game was for the number 1 seed, because I think if Penn State wins, they would have been the number 1 seed, and Oregon would have fallen to that 5 spot. Mm-hmm. And as it is, Penn State falls into the 5 spot, so they get a home game and they get the benefit of actually probably one of the easiest roads in the college football playoff.
They for sure have the easiest road.
So hey, big game James still does not exist, but it was a very good effort for Penn State, and it came down to the wire. Yeah. Speaking of coming down to the wire,
yes,
SMU with a 17-point comeback.
SMU saved their playoff hopes by coming back.
But then they didn't cover a kickoff well, and then Clemson ran their one play to perfection to get into field goal range, and the true freshman kicker bombs a 56-yard field goal to win it. That was pretty special.
Dabo.
Love Dabo or hate him. He also
can win the big ones.
Testified and, stuck to his convictions as the Klubnik, as their kicker, which I still, again, think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was very cool. But Clemson kind of gets out, hadn't been to the playoff for a few years, gets off the schneid, but 2 ACC teams in the playoff. But it was
much to the chagrin of the SEC.
Yeah, well, don't lose to a 6-6 team by 20 points.
Right, exactly. Bama fans, you can't complain about that. So I'll give you I did some quick weekly grades for this week, the last weekly grades of the season. A is for awesome for Army. They played in a conference only one other time. This is their first conference championship game. They smoked Tulane. They're 11-1. Hopefully they'll beat Navy 2 to cap it off, win another Commander-in-Chief trophy. It should be a good game because Navy is 8-3 and a good team as well. B is for better than expected. I'm going to say Georgia with a backup. When Beck went down, I probably would have thought Georgia had no chance. I think Herbie and Crew thought the same thing, and that just wasn't the case. I didn't see as much of the second half, but that was great. C is for come on, man. I got to throw SMU in there, SMU, just because of the way they got all the way back from 17 down, and then they choked it away at the end. But thank goodness for them, they still made the playoff. D is for duly noted, Penn State, and F is for fraud. I'm sorry, Bill, Iowa State.
Yep, that is we are spot one.
So how did we do in our picks last week then?
You went 5-5, went 4-6, which brings the total going the bowl season. I'm 108-82, and you're 106-84, neck and neck.
Neck and neck.
With 1,000 bowl games to pick. So
plenty of chances to either run away with it or get blown away.
Oh yeah. That's spot one. Let's get to spot two and mailbag. I know we have a couple.
Yeah, I got a couple from Chris. Let's see. We'll start with. Here we go. So Chris sent me one. Actually, I think he meant this in time for last week's pod. So I'll ask this, retroactively. He asked, will a coach or team play only second string and down players in a conference, second and third string players in a conference championship game to avoid injury and increase chances of winning a national championship? I don't think we really saw that much. So I'll change it to, should a coach or team play that if they know that they're going to get in the playoffs?
It's a possibility. It doesn't really matter.
It's exactly why I said they shouldn't have conference championship games anymore. They're meaningless. It's just a chance for your quarterback to get dinged up. And, Beck had hurt that elbow against Georgia Tech and made it through the first half and then just got absolutely clobbered on a Hail Mary attempt. And, his season's probably done. So, I just think it's another chance. And football's a game, right? Like, you can have non-contact injuries. You can have freak injuries. Like, injuries can happen anytime, any place. But, why would you, for a game that doesn't matter in the scheme of trying to win a championship, why would you play guys? I agree with that. Chris talked about, kind of like I said, he believes he asked me kind of related to the playoff question that I went through in my podium. He feels like the higher teams should get home games for at least the first 2 rounds. Yep. I agree with that. Championship games should always be neutral. I agree with that. That can be kind of like your Super Bowl. So here's another question from Chris. Has the transfer portal ruined bowl games?
Yes, 100%. Because guys are opting out. Mm-hmm. Guys are doing that. Stupid.
Yeah, like he said, if Michigan State was in a bowl game, we might not be able to field a team right now. To me, the portal needs to open after the bowl games or just not have a December portal at all. One portal in the spring, May to, he said July 1st, that's too long. Maybe May to June. Should be plenty of time for the people who want to get out. I completely agree. There's one instance of a guy going in the portal that's staying at his school, right? Ohio State's backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's just weird. I wouldn't. If some guy entered the portal, I wouldn't want him to play.
And this kind of goes to the point of too many bowl games in the cost to schools and everything. And he says, plus if teams are playing mostly walk-ons or guys who didn't play much all season, why the F would anyone want to spend their money to go to a bowl to watch the equivalent of a high school team play? That was Florida State last year. I love Michigan State, but I'm not dropping my hard-earned cash to watch the JV squad play in Orlando or Phoenix or wherever. As he finishes that out, that statement out, the ironic part of all of this is it's not the playoffs that have crushed the bowl games, it's the damn portal. And he's right. So he asked one other question. Oh no, I think that is it because I put that in the note already. Let me just make sure, Chris, that we covered your questions. I think I did. Yeah, we covered Chris's questions. So what do we got from Mitch-a-palooza?
Yeah, Mitch, you got 3 for us this week. He's back. What is a bigger surprise, UConn with their losses or U of M being ranked? In basketball, obviously.
That's a good question.
You know, I think Michigan has had talent, and they obviously have a lot of guys in the portal, but I think it's just coaching for Michigan. I'm actually really not surprised. Dusty May's a really good coach, and they got a good roster, but I think it's UConn because the way that Danny really had them rolling, and then they lose 3 in Maui.
Yeah, I don't know if it's complacency. I mean, they're missing a lockdown defender. I mean, I think he's got a good roster, but not clearly as good as it has been. I think he's lacking a lockdown defender. I think because we probably all assumed they would be great and compete, and they still might compete for the national championship. I think we probably think of that as the bigger surprise. But I think where we are now, record-wise, like Michigan's top 15 they're on right now, playing Arkansas. That just goes to show you the difference between having a good coach and not having. And you're like, Juwan Howard was a dog shit coach. He rode the coattails of a decent roster for a couple of years and got lucky. He was not a good coach. John Beilein was a mastermind. He was a beautiful coach. And I think May is a great coach. I mean, for freaking A, he got FAU to the Final Four. Yeah. Like, to take a mid-major to a Final Four like that, that was a big deal. I think he's a good coach. And will Michigan be at the top of the Big Ten all season? That remains to be seen. But, I think they've got a pretty nice roster with some pretty nice transfers, and he's a good coach. So, for me, kind of in a way, Michigan is just because they've been honestly pretty crappy for the last couple of years. I didn't expect them to rebound quite that quickly, but we should know by now that you can rebuild your team in the portal pretty quickly.
Yep. Number 2, Trey Holloman is doing the 5 with a headband justice. Is he your Spartan of the season so far? Well, you know this, Ryan. I'm a big Trey Holloman fan, and because he can score when we need him to, he is a lockdown, chest-up defender. I think he's probably our best defensive player. I think he's got a lot of heart. I think he's a good leader. And I can live with sometimes like his over-the-moon alley-oops, literally. Sometimes the Cohen car expecting he's going to catch him. It's hard to say because Michigan State's playing so connected right now. But, I mean, he's right there. My favorite player is Jace Richardson, and I think he's a glue guy. But Trey was, when Jace was down for that North Carolina game, it was Trey that kept Michigan State going. He made the threes in the first half when Michigan State had done crap from threes so far to that point. Then he made free throws down the stretch. I think he's the guy that I trust with the ball in his hands at the end of the game, probably more than anybody. So, yeah, in a way. Yeah. I'm going to say Kohler.
Kohler's been fantastic, too. I mean, I was talking about this with a coworker today. Kohler was immediately on my radar as the whipping boy as soon as the season started. But I think he kind of psychologically got past the injury. We heard all last year that he had a great summer, and then he got hurt and we never really got to see it. I'm super impressed by his motor. I'm super impressed by, he's probably arguably the least athletic of the bigs, but he has the best nose for the rebounds. He gets on the floor. He can score in the post. He's a good free throw shooter. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. There's a lot of guys you could plug in there and say is the Spartan of the season so far. I mean, there's a lot of, and that's the thing about this team. Last year, the red flag was Tom Izzo talking about how close his team was. If coach ever tells you that, run for the hills. That is a red flag. If players say that, I don't have a problem with that because I think the players speak truth, as opposed to coaches who speak hyperbole or try to speak something into existence. I just look around at the connectedness of this team, and he hasn't had to say it, and I can see it. You can see it. We talk about that all the time, Ryan, during the games. And I think the fact that you got some consistent guys. Akins has been playing well. Richardson has been playing well. Holloman has been playing well. But now you got guys like Kohler stepping up while other guys are playing a role. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it has been fun. What would you, number 3, what would you rather have? Carr develop a 3-point shot or Fears develop a 3-point shot? Want to say Carr, but I feel like Fears needs one.
I kind of think I've seen he doesn't pull the trigger very often. Fears has a pretty decent looking jump shot. And I think he's at least a threat to make one. I don't think Carr is quite a threat yet. And here's the thing, though, too. I think Carr shows at the free throw line that he's got good form. He's just, I don't know if it's because he's too strong or he just got to figure out the touch or whatever. I honestly think it opens up Michigan State's offense more if Carr can do it. Because think of all the things that Carr does at the rim when people know that they can sag off on him.
Yeah.
If he can all of a sudden hit threes, imagine the back doors that they can run to him. And right now, we don't need Fears to score as much. I mean, we honestly don't need necessarily Carr to score as much either. I think, though, the bigger threat is if Carr can do it because it pulls teams away from the basket and lets him go to work back door. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. That's Mitch-a-palooza.
Good stuff, Mitch.
Yeah.
I had another hodgepodge that I had written down too. So, Ryan, did you see this story about the guy with the burned golf clubs?
No.
So I read this today. So this is a guy in Florida, every golf traveler's nightmare. Clubs are late coming off the belt in RSW, so down in Fort Myers. Bag comes around, he's like, that can't be it. Bag comes back around, he's like, damn it, yeah, that's my bag. Why the hell does it look like that? The clubs had been dropped by the baggage handler and dragged behind the cart, sparking a fire that destroyed everything in his bag and his clubs.
Oh my gosh.
And the airline was not going to, until he incessantly bombarded them, they finally gave him a check for $4,000.
That's
First of all,
insane.
And then I read a part of that story, not sure if it was Delta or not, but another airline where there was on video that went viral of these baggage handlers absolutely manhandling and destroying a college golf team's clubs that was shipping. What is wrong with people? I think airlines should be culpable for that. It's not, flight your own risk. No, we pay $500 to fly somewhere and expect that the morons that you hire to handle our bags are going to pack the plane safely and not destroy our stuff, whether it's golf clubs, skis, tennis equipment, clothing, suitcases. It doesn't really matter. You have one job to get things packed safely and efficiently on the plane so that I can enjoy them when I get to my final destination and not have to fight with you to pay for it back.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Asinine.
The airlines are very screwy. All right, spot 3. Quick ad read.
Yeah, we'll go with a word from our presenting sponsor. Team Anders Realty will help you find the home that fits your wants and needs, and they make the process simple and fun along the way. The Anders have served thousands of clients for 30-plus years in the West Michigan area and are here to serve you today. Learn more at teamanders.com. Always great to their customers as well. Between springtime, they do a little plants and a coffee thing. And this last weekend at a Christmas tree farm, they give you $25 towards a wreath or a tree. Very cool. Good people. Great neighbors as well, in addition to being awesome realtors.
Yep. Do a quick college basketball rundown. Since Michigan is
currently throttling.
Michigan's
Arkansas.
really good. I'm watching this and they're pretty good. They're good. They beat Wisconsin last week. On the road, beat Iowa. Michigan State, since I think it was Tuesday. Did we do Tuesday last week? Or did we do Wednesday? It was Tuesday, right?
Monday,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was before. So Michigan State, 2-0 in Big Ten play. First time in however many years. So that's good. Two not so great teams they played. But, wins are wins, especially on the road, to blow out a Minnesota team that you lost to in that building earlier in this calendar year. And then beat a Nebraska team that won on the road against Creighton. They played well up until that point. Michigan State looking good, playing well, getting contributions from a lot of different guys, which has been really good. Back the fast break games, back second in the NCAA in fast break points.
Alley-oop of the year against Nebraska.
Ass pass. Defense has been really good. Rebounding's been phenomenal. Out-rebounded Nebraska by 29. I don't care who you're playing.
That's old school Michigan State basketball.
And it's just a very tight-knit group that plays well together.
And it's fun to watch because of the balance. Like, there's 8 guys that are scoring 6 points or more.
And they play a lot of guys. Like, they play
10 and up to 11 guys.
Yeah, it's a nice team. I like to watch them. We watched Northwestern beat Illinois the other day. The Big Ten is just, I'll say this.
Illinois is currently down 2 to Wisconsin.
Big Ten's about to be a battle. And once again, Riley and I were texting about this Friday night. Once again, the Big Ten's not going to win a national championship because they're just going to beat the crap out of each other all season long, and it's so physical, and the officiating's weird. They're not going to win a national championship again.
I think Sean Morris said it well on the Michigan State broadcast. He said he would be shocked if 14-6 doesn't win the Big Ten this year.
I mean, sure, that might win it outright.
Look at last night, UCLA, Oregon. The way UCLA won on a buzzer beater.
There's only a couple bad. Like, Washington's not great. USC's okay. Minnesota's not great. The rest of the teams, like, anyone could beat
Oregon.
Anyone.
Could easily be 2-0, but UCLA is.
Oregon's good. Illinois is good. Michigan State.
And Illinois could be 0-2 if they lose to Wisconsin today.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be interesting.
Ohio State got waxed by Maryland, and then they beat up on Rutgers. Yep. So, yeah.
And then Rutgers beat Penn State tonight. And Penn State beat Purdue. Like, what? You got to win on the road.
I tell you, you got to win your 10 home games.
Yep, you got.
If you want to win the Big Ten, you got to win your 10 home games, and if you can split 5-5 on the road, you will win the Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely. But college basketball at large has been fun. Kansas and Auburn both lost last week. It was the first time number 1 and number 2 lost in the same week to an unranked opponent.
Tennessee's the new number 1
since 2011 when Indiana beat Kentucky at the buzzer, which was 13 years ago today.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then I can't remember what the other team was. It might have been like Kansas that lost. But Kansas went 0-2 last week as number 1. They're out of there. 2
road games, lost to Creighton, lost to Missouri.
Yeah, we're down big to Missouri. They kind of came back. But it's going to be crazy. College basketball is going to be fun this year. A lot of parity with the transfer portal and a lot of Euros I've noticed.
Illinois
got a ton of them. A lot of them in the Big Ten. We'll make our roster selections probably. I think Big Ten play, the first 2 games are done this week, so maybe next week or the week after.
As we go into
we could do that. Do that fun stuff. I don't really think I have anything else college basketball wise. Forgot to mention this college football wise. Congrats to Coach D, officially in the College Football Hall of Fame as of tonight. Big time stuff. Deserved. Very well deserved. I don't think anything else college basketball. I'm trying to remember. No.
Michigan State's off till next Tuesday, and they play Oakland in our
annual game. Got to win the next 3 and get to 11-2 going into full Big Ten play. That'd be very nice compared to last year where they were like 6-6 and not very good. All right, let's get to the National Football League. I guess we can start with Thursday Night Football last week. The Detroit Lions playing host to the Green Bay Packers, rivalry game, NFC North. It was a really good game. The Lions defense held up pretty well in the first half, especially in the second.
They gave up 298 total yards.
Second half, they weren't as good. They had some troubles had some bad situations with short field, just stupid penalties, whatever. But the Lions get it done. Goff was really good again. The Lions just keep getting by. 12-1.
Tim Patrick first touchdown since 2021. He had 2.
Pretty special. That he's was able to do that. He's a really good guy, great teammate, good player. He's been a nice piece for the Lions. He really has. Amon-Ra good again. J-Mo Gibbs, Monty, Goff. I mean, the Lions were pretty good on offense, aside from a couple. The pick that Goff threw wasn't great. Aside from that, pretty good.
And that's without Taylor Decker.
In that
he's been hurt.
Division's tough. Obviously, Vikings playing really good football. I don't know if Sam Darnold's on PEDs or what, or if it's just all coaching. I don't know situation, but Vikings they're doing something right. I don't know what they're drinking up there. If they made a deal with the devil, something, because but last year they were 2 years ago. They were similar, won a lot of really close games, found ways to win. And then last year they were the opposite. They lost close games. They just won.
Every other year it
couldn't
seems to be
finish.
for them.
Yeah, and this year, maybe next year they won't be as good, but having a really good season, 11-2. Jaguars beat the Titans. Don't really care about that. Dolphins keep their playoff hopes alive. Put the Jets
nice
out.
little comeback. Had a game tying field goal as time expired, and then won in overtime.
Aaron Rodgers has plus 10,000 odds to become the Jets' next head coach. I'm here for it because that'd be the funniest thing ever. He'd probably just make them all do drugs. He's an idiot. Kind of glad to see him failing with the way he's acted the last few years. Saints beat the Giants. The Giants found a way to lose that game. But you see what Derek Carr did? He did something weird and he ended up fracturing his hand. He's probably out for the season. And they could technically still they'd have to win out, but they're still in the race in a bad division. Panthers they dropped Xavier Legette dropped a pass that would have had them beat the Eagles. Bryce Young's actually been pretty solid. Eagles pass game's broken. That's something to definitely keep an eye on as a Lions fan. Moving forward, Steelers 10-3. I think if they win this week, they clinch a playoff berth. That's pretty sweet for them. Buccaneers, nice one over the Raiders. They take a hold of that division. NFC South, Seahawks beat the Cardinals. Cardinals kind of falling apart here as of late.
And Charbonnet, 134 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Walker,
I think he's hurt. Yeah, he hasn't
out.
had a great season. He's been pretty dinged up.
Yeah,
can't really control that. But Seahawks, Mike McDonald's doing a nice job there. Rams get to 7-6.
Honestly, that was probably aside from Lions and Packers, that was the game of the week.
Yeah, that was 44-42. Josh Allen accounts for 6 touchdowns.
5 thrown, 1 rushed.
Dude is a freak, man.
3 thrown, 3 rushed. That's
Puka
crazy.
Nacua had some unbelievable catches. Yeah, 162 yards, touchdown. He was great. Rams trying to stay alive for maybe the
West
the
is
West.
crazy.
Yeah, maybe for the West or the wild card. Bills still doing well in the AFC, but that was a tough loss going out west.
I mean, the West, you got Seattle 8-5, Rams 7-6, Arizona and San Francisco 6-7.
Yeah.
So it's still open.
Speaking of 49ers, smoked the Bears. The Bears are broken. They're horrible. Purdy played really well. Good for them. Squeaking by the Chiefs again. Beat the Chargers. They just keep finding these ways. It's their defense. Their offense is not great. Not even putting up very many yards. Their defense wins some games. Special teams.
Ways to win.
I heard, I didn't see it, but apparently there were some penalties that were not called and called for the Chiefs that were very egregious. Apparently, Juwan Taylor had 3 false starts on their last drive that they didn't call.
That guy's horrible anyway.
Yeah, crazy. And then last night, Cowboys find a way to lose. Yet again, they're 5-8. If I were them, I would just kind of tank so you can get the best draft position possible. It's looking more likely they're going to fire McCarthy or let him go. I don't know who would want to coach that dumpster fire.
Not work for Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones is as nutty as they get. Yeah, we got some
2 Monday night games this week.
again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bears, Vikings, Atlanta, Vegas.
Oh, gross! 2 terrible games.
Rams, Niners on Thursday. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, that's a kind of a elimination.
Buffalo,
game,
Detroit, great game.
Yeah, Buffalo, Detroit will be a good one. Seattle, Green Bay, that's a huge one. Bucks, Chargers. I mean, there's some good football this
Pittsburgh,
weekend.
Philly.
Steelers, Phillies,
Yeah.
awesome. Dolphins, Texans, that's a big game for both teams. Yeah, there's some
No more buys.
there's some doozies, man. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think anything else NFL-wise. Be interested to see who gets fired next or first when the season ends. Will it be Pedersen? Will it be Antonio Pierce? Will it be Dayball? Will it be who else is on the hot seat? Mike McDaniel from the fake black guy, Mike
Mr.
McDaniel.
Capri Pants.
Yeah, he's weird. I could see him getting fired. They haven't done anything.
No.
But Tua is here. He's not that good.
Well, Tua's had a great comeback since he got his head rocked around a couple times.
Knocked some
Like
sense
9
back in
touchdowns
there.
and 1 interception, I think, since he's come back.
Maybe knock some sense back in there. All right, that's spot 4. Let's get to spot 5. The spot you've all been waiting for. Bowl picks are back for the what is this fourth year we've done this, 5th year, whatever it is.
Be 4 years, like next weekish or
Yeah,
the week
I think it's
after.
the 21st was our first one ever. But we're going to do a decent amount of picks this week and then some next week as well.
There are literally 41.
Yeah,
bowls
I have
right?
a whole sheet right here.
Every 6 and 6 team made a bowl game. No 5 and 7 teams this year.
Well, that's at least good. All right, we start this Saturday night. Oh, I can't wait for this one. The IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, between the Western Michigan Broncos 6-6 and the South Alabama Jaguars 6-6. South Alabama, coached by Major Applewhite. Western Michigan lost a lot of guys to the portal. We're going straight up on this game. I'm going with South Alabama, baby.
South Alabama favored by 7. Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. I'd like to say Western, but Western choked against Central down the stretch of the season.
They did. Let's go Tuesday night. A big one. The Scooters. I love Scooters Coffee. Frisco Bowl. Frisco, Texas. Memphis 10-2 taking on West Virginia 6-6. They fired their coach and Neil Brown. Pretty close spread actually.
3.
Yeah. I think Memphis is going to get them. I do.
Get Memphis.
They've
lose
good
some
quarterback.
guys
Seth
before.
Hennigan. This actually might be a decent game to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Memphis. I mean, I guess throw the records out, but Memphis played in a pretty decent conference, and I think when you have coaching upheaval, that's just a weird vibe. So I got to go with Memphis.
All right, let's go to next Wednesday night. The Boca Raton Bowl. Western Kentucky 8-5. James Madison 8-4. Western Kentucky's quarterback is
Fighting
entered
former
the portal.
Signetis. Western Kentucky's.
Yep,
quarterback.
I'm going James Madison, baby.
Yeah, I'm going James Madison. They're favored by 7.5, according to what I'm looking at.
Yep, I'm looking at ESPN here. Both got James Madison winning that. The Art of Sport LA Bowl. What is this name?
They should call it the Homeless Who Knows What Bowl.
Cal versus UNLV. Cal is favored in this game. 6-6. UNLV, Barry Odom, he's Purdue's coach. I could have mentioned that in college football. I think it's a good hire for Purdue.
Yeah, I think so
Good
too.
coach.
I mean, I think again, coach upheaval. Cal actually had a decent season out of the ACC. Weird to say ACC. I think UNLV wants to end on a good
I'm
note
going
after
UNLV.
they lost to the Boise in their championship game. So
yeah, they got a good quarterback. Malik Hodge-Williams, good player. Thursday night, one bowl, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's been going on for a long time. Georgia Southern, coached by Clay Helton, playing against Sam Houston State. The
I didn't even know
Bearcats.
Sam Houston State.
Yeah,
was
they
Division I.
went 9-3. Georgia Southern's favorite. I'm going Sam Houston here. I like them.
I'm going to go Georgia
I
Southern.
like their colors. Going Georgia Southern. I'm going Sam Houston's. Is it Sam Houston State or did they change it? Yeah, good
Sam
for them.
Houston State.
Good for them for a good season. Friday the 20th. What the Staff DNA Cure Bowl? It's in Orlando. Ohio. Ohio 10-3. Winner of the MAC playing the Sun.
At least they get. I thought
USA
the
champion
MAC
Jacksonville
winner
State.
always went to the Motor City Bowl.
Don't even know anymore. But that's actually not a bad game.
No. Yeah, 2 conference
I'm
champions.
going with the Cox, the Gamecocks.
I'm going with Ohio. They're going to ride the the Bobcats.
Rich Rod playing against Ohio will probably lose, but whatever. All right, next one. Also Friday, the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl at Raymond James Stadium, Florida versus Tulane.
I'm going Florida.
Yeah, Florida's going to
Florida's
win.
actually a big favorite.
Yeah,
but
because Tulane's quarterback entered the portal. Yuck.
exactly, to Chris's point.
Yeah, and he's a really good player, too. That probably would sway that big time. We'll do the playoff picks next week. Let's see. The Myrtle Beach Bowl. Coastal Carolina staying home.
That's the Roadrunners.
UTSA, the Roadrunners. I'm going with the Roadrunners.
They're favored by a touchdown.
Meet.
Yeah. I want to pick the home team, but I think sometimes getting out on the road is better. So I'm going to go UTSA as well.
We'll do get a few more here. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Northern Illinois. Beat Notre Dame, if you recall, week 2. Way back when. Versus Fresno State, looking for... I don't know if they hired a guy. I can't remember. Versus Fresno State, Northern Illinois, 3-point favorite. I think traveling out west hurts them. I'm going with the Bulldogs.
I'm going to go Northern Illinois. I think Fresno's going to fill up on too many potatoes.
What kind of potatoes? Sweet, regular, fried, baked?
Hash
browns. A staple of Christmas Eve.
The Hawaii Bowl?
The Hawaii Bowl. South Florida, 6-6 versus San Jose State, 7-5. San Jose State, 3-point favorite. I like USF in this game, though, because I like their coach, Golish. Came from Tennessee. He's done a nice job. Their quarterback, Byron Brown, good player.
I'm going to go San Jose State, the Spartans.
Coached by Ken Namatulaba, whatever, Navy's old coach. All right. The game that we were going to go to if Michigan State made it, the game above the Sports Bowl. Pittsburgh, Pat Narduzzi playing Toledo. Pitt, 9-point favorite.
Pittsburgh's going to roll.
Yeah, I agree.
They faltered down the end, but I think they're going to roll.
Yeah, Narduzzi loves to roll bad teams, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, a few more. Rutgers versus Kansas State in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl out at Chase Field in Phoenix. We got a decently close spread. Kansas State, I think they win. I don't think Rutgers is that good, and Kansas State has a good to decent offense.
Rutgers' best win, I think, was Washington this year, so I'm going to go with Kansas State.
The 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Arkansas State, Butch Jones. Is that his name? Butch Jones?
Yeah, Pride of Saugatuck.
Versus Bowling Green. Decent game.
I'm going Bowling Green.
Yeah, I am too. I like Bowling Green in this one. The Falcons. All right. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Oklahoma versus Navy. Oklahoma 6-6. Navy gonna be 8-4. I'm gonna say Navy. A little upset here. I think it means more to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, it's hard because the Army-Navy game is kind of like a bowl game. So I think Oklahoma obviously clawed to get in there with a big win over Bama. So I'm gonna ride with that, too. I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Okay. The Birmingham Bowl. Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt. That's actually a decent game. 6-6, Vandy, 7-5, Georgia Tech. I'm going to go Georgia Tech. I love Haynes King. I love their style of play. I think it'd be a good one, though.
Yeah, I think they want to get that 8 overtime loss out of their mouth, and I agree. I think Vandy could win easily, but
yeah,
I'm going to go with Georgia Tech.
AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Decent game here. Texas Tech, 8-4, playing Arkansas. 2.5-point favorite in this one. I'm going to go Tech. I like their running back.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tech as well.
The DirecTV Holiday Bowl. That's been a lot of different names, hasn't it?
Yeah.
San Diego. Syracuse, 9-3 versus Washington, 8-4. I'm going to go Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse.
They finished the season well. Their coach, Fran Brown, done a nice job in year one there. The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. USC of the Big Ten versus TAMU of the SEC.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, I agree. Texas A&M is going to win this game.
They were a beat away, really, from the playoffs.
So. They were close. They lost to some good teams. Couple more. Wasabi Fenway Bowl, UConn, North Carolina. No, it's not a basketball game.
UConn went 8-4 this year. That's nuts.
Good for them. I'm going with North Carolina.
North Carolina, no Mac Brown, but yeah, I'll go with North Carolina.
Yep.
Maybe with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, seriously. Let's go. Last one here. Boston College versus Nebraska in the Bad Boy Moors Pinstripe Bowl. Nebraska 2.5-point favorite. I think they get it done. They're going to just be so happy to be there for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I would like to see Boston College win just so that we're not the only Big Ten team that they beat. But I think Nebraska is going to actually get a winning season for the first time in an age.
Yep, be good for them. All right, we'll get the last half next week. And I forgot. How could I forget? Army versus Navy.
Oh, yeah. Army.
Go Black
No
Knights,
question.
baby.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Let's go. The 101st Airborne jerseys. The Screaming Eagles. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Let's
Love
go
it.
Army.
If you have never watched that whole game and all the pageantry from
Unbelievable.
pregame on, you're crazy. Do it.
Unbelievable. Hopefully one day we'll go. That's definitely on the bucket list. All right, let's finish with a sprint, as we always do. Will Bill Belichick work in college? I'm saying no. I think it's in the last 1 year. He's going to hate it, retire, and then he's going to try to get back in the NFL.
It's hard to say. I mean, how much more coaching does he have in front of him?
How is he going to recruit? He's
That's what
old.
you get good assistants for, I guess. I mean, the fact that you're Bill Belichick and you can go play for a guy who's a genius and won a lot of Super Bowls, I think it could potentially work. I'm trying to think of, usually it's college guys that go pro and falter, like Spurrier, like Saban, and a lot of other guys. I can't even really think of any guys that were predominantly pro coaches and went college, to be honest. I mean, Pete Carroll, kind of, obviously, and then he went back to the pros. I mean, I don't think either way it lasts very long, but I think he could have some success in North Carolina.
Yeah. All right. 3 more here. Will the Chiefs be able to live on the edge like they have been for much longer?
I mean, I think it'll catch him at some point, but you could argue that with the Lions, too. Sometimes the Lions will live a little bit on the edge with their style.
The Chiefs have played...
I think the Lions is more of style. The Chiefs is more like they've found every way to win by a fingernail.
Yeah, other teams lose games. And
I think the biggest, like you've pointed it out a couple times over the last few weeks, I think the biggest concern about the Chiefs is their offensive inconsistency.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's going to bite them in the playoffs. I do.
I think the Bills are a more complete team.
Yes. You can only play with fire for so long before being burned. How long until the playoff is... I said 16 teams. I wrote this yesterday, and now I heard the 14. I think it'll be 16 teams by 2027.
14 is stupid. Like, why would you...
Yeah.
14 is just
dumb.
like...
It's
I don't
stupid.
even understand what... That's just like a whole nother part of the bracket. Like, it doesn't work that way. You do it in increments of 4 teams. I think it's 16 teams as early as next year. And I think it has to be.
Yeah, I agree. Is Bryson Daly the biggest Heisman snub since K9?
Yes. 29 touchdowns.
Should
Are you
be
kidding
there.
me? The dude, like, is the heart and soul of Army's football team on
He plays
offense.
for Army, which makes it even more impressive.
It's the Heisman is so tarnished because, and it was tarnished for me in 2021 when K9 had that amazing season, 5 touchdowns against Michigan, like 190 some yards against Michigan, just that game alone. And his only bad game was, I think, the Ohio State game, and I think he was hurt for most of that game. And they invite, Hutch instead, who, by the way, K9 ran over in that game. Like, that right there ended it for me, as in that the Heisman was truly about the best guy, the best player, and not a popularity contest. You know who's going to win because it's a popularity contest when it should be Genty should win. He's the best player in college football. And now, no doubt that Hunter is great.
Yeah,
but
special player.
I don't think. Yeah, he's a special player. He's a unique player, but I don't think he's put up a historic season. But he's going to win because it's about popularity. I think it would have been close either way, but I think, and I'm not saying that he would have won the Army quarterback, but he should absolutely be in New York.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Appreciate you guys listening. Let us know what questions you have for us in the next couple weeks. But yeah, we appreciate you guys listening. Happy bowl watching. Happy college hoops watching. NFL. Stay warm. It's going to be a cold week.
Meantime, another thought-provoking one for you from my Chicken Soup for the Basketball Soul. As Arnold Bennett once said, you can expect any change, no matter how much for the better, to be accompanied by drawbacks and discomforts.